Thank you. So welcome everybody. Those of you who don't know me, I am Nick Boaz. I work in the Office of Undergraduate Research, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit today about how you apply for our summer undergraduate research program. And so what I'll do is I'll give you a little bit of an overview of what the summer undergraduate research or summer undergraduate scholarship program, as we call it here, looks like, what the application process looks like, and then take questions on what the program looks like, how to apply, the benefits, things like that. Okay, let's get started. So just giving you an overview here, the Summer Undergraduate Scholarship Program has been around for really quite a while here at North Central College. And it does a really good job of encouraging undergraduate students to perform collaborative research with a professor. And so what we mean by that is that both you and your professor are tackling a problem in concert with each other. Um, so oftentimes this will be part of a small group, or it can just be you and your professor working on this project. What this program allows you to do is it gives you a small stipend per week, so about $250 a week, to go ahead and pursue these scholarly inquiries. And that simply helps you pay for things, pay for housing, pay for food, things like that, while you're working on your project. So there are a variety of different projects available that you can choose from. Oftentimes people have this idea that they are only really interested, that they are, excuse me, they only view research as this idea of scientists pouring bubbling liquids together, waiting for a reaction. And it turns out that that's not necessarily true. While there is research that looks like two liquids being poured together and watching a reaction, ironically enough, the type of research I do looks like that. A lot of research out there looks a little bit different, and it winds up taking the form of whether that be research in the library, talking to people, creating a new piece of art. Different fields approach scholarly inquiry differently. And so one of the benefits of this is that you can learn methods of how to approach research questions in the scholarly field of choice by doing. And it turns out that learning by doing is one of the best ways to go ahead and get involved in these types of experiences. Okay, so some of the example opportunities that are available this year are learning about what it takes to be a sports general manager. So Dr. Decker is working on a project where he categorizes the educational and experiential background of the general managers of major league sports and looking to find things that they have in common. So what does their education look like? Where did they get their start? Things like that. Dr. Blight is using TikTok, which is the social media app, as a tool for research and learning. It's a tool, sorry. Turns out I had TikTok on the mind when I was typing that. Dr. Rivera and Dr. Shaw are looking at examining campus climate using the survey that went out to students and faculty earlier this year. Dr. Sanders is using coffee grounds, actually, of all things, to develop a new way to capture heavy metal ions from water as a way of purifying water. And then Dr. Kempinger in the physics department is looking to design a new type of magnetic microscope. And so in doing this, she's actually building her own instrument, which is super duper cool. So as you can see, there are a variety of different types of opportunities. And so these are just 5 of almost 30 different types of opportunities that are available. And so you're guaranteed to find something that hopefully piques your interest in our list of opportunities. So in addition to working on a really interesting problem collaboratively with one of your faculty members, you get the opportunity in this summer research program to go ahead and present your work to the college as a whole. And so this is the summer research presentation from 2 years ago. Unfortunately, COVID precluded the program from occurring last year. And here are two students, Steph on the left talking with Dr. Brandt, who's the chair of the chemistry department, and then Melanie on the right talking with Dean Caliendo of the College of Arts and Sciences, and Dr. W of the biology department about her work on food spoilage, which was really cool that she did 2 summers ago. So what can this experience lead to? What what can I expect to gain from doing undergraduate research here at North Central College? And so here are 2 examples. So the young woman on the left, her name is Melanie. We talked about her in the last slide. She did research here on campus her first year with Dr. Peterson, studying something called water mold. She was able to leverage that experience to go ahead and apply for a nationally available fellowship at North Carolina State University to study food spoilage the next year. So this prestigious fellowship really has been able to help her. I mean, her undergraduate research helped her get a prestigious fellowship, and then she's using that now. She plans on attending a PhD program in biomedical engineering next year. Super interesting. On the right is Alyssa Tovar, who did research with Dr. Jim Kadick and myself 1 summer. And so she was then able to present this work at an honors symposium for women in chemistry. And so she was able to use this to really gain the opportunity to talk to other women in chemistry who are doing research at an incredibly high level and use that to network for her next steps after North Central College. Additionally, we can tell you from experience that this is a pretty good way to spend your summer. So for example, this is Kelsey. Kelsey worked on developing a new method to oxidize CH bonds. Kelsey was able to publish a paper based upon her undergraduate research over the summer. This was in the summer of 2017. And from there, she is now a 3rd-year student at the University of Illinois at Chicago's College of Pharmacy. And so she, as of next year, will graduate with her doctorate in pharmacy and be able to start practicing. Additionally, these 3 students who did research 2 years ago are all applying to graduate schools in their own field. And so while they did their research in material science physics, it turns out that they are able to take this experience and use it to go ahead and do different things in graduate school. So Sam, who's here on the left, is attending Texas A&M on a full ride scholarship to gain his PhD in organometallic chemistry. Morgan in the center was just accepted as of last week at the University of Illinois College of Medicine. And then on the right, Anthony here is studying applied math at the University of North Carolina in a PhD program. So hopefully I've caught your eye and you think that this is actually a pretty good idea. And so how do you apply? One of the first things you want to do is to go ahead and check out your research opportunities. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a second, and I'm just going to bring up the document here that shows you the different research opportunities that you can apply for. So I'll go ahead and reshare my screen. There we go. Okay, can everybody see this this Google Doc here? If so, raise your hand, please. So Heidi can see it. Okay, George can see it, fantastic. Julie can see it, Shelby can see it, fantastic. So what we've done here is we have collected all of the different research opportunities, and you can see I'm scrolling, that are available for you this summer to apply to. And so one of the first things you'll want to do is you'll want to go ahead and check this out and find positions that are doing things that you find kind of interesting. It's alphabetized by field, so biology comes first. But here, there are likely a couple of different projects that you can look at and say, hey, that looks like something that I would be interested in pursuing. And so if you're interested, this sheet here was sent out to you as an email on 5 o'clock on Monday. So if you're looking for that, it's from Academic Affairs, and it will tell you exactly how to access this document, as well as the next document that will show you how to actually apply. So I'll go ahead and bring that up now. So again, I'll stop sharing. I'll bring up our matching guide. Screen sharing has failed to start. Well, that's fun. Okay, how about that? If you can see this, go ahead and raise your hand, please. Fantastic. Thanks, guys. So this is the actual application for our 2021 Summer Undergraduate Scholarship Program. And so what you'll do is you'll fill out a series of short questions, such as what's your name? Are you going to be enrolled in the fall semester? When do you plan on graduating? You'll have to describe your qualifications. And so this is a short 1 to 2 paragraphs of what you could bring to the table in a research project. You'll attach a current resume and a cover letter. And so it turns out that cover letters and resumes are really important things for when you go to apply to a job someday. And it also winds up helping faculty members who are looking for student workers gauge how would this student, is this student well qualified for my position here? And so in addition to helping prepare you for when you have to submit one of these when you get out in the real world, this helps really match students well towards prospective faculty members. So we understand that writing a resume or a cover letter at first can be a little bit of a scary endeavor. Have no fear. We are here to help you. So, for example, I can go ahead and give you tips and read over your resume and cover letter. Additionally, career development. This is their jam. They are amazing at helping you apply for a job. And summer research is, in essence, a job. And so they're able to help you work the kinks out of your resume and cover letter to put your best application forward. So I highly encourage you to go ahead and reach out to them with your resume and cover letter to see if they can give you tips on how to improve your application. From there, what you're going to do is you'll take your top 4 choices of who you're interested in working for, and you'll go ahead and click the bubble for what those choices are. So let's say you're interested in working with Dr. Keating and Dr. Barnett. You could say, I want them to be my first choice. And then you would pick second, third, fourth, and down on the line. And then in the end, you'll simply hit complete, and that will beam your application to me, who will then forward that to the faculty members that you are interested in working with. So from there, we'll have a decision on who faculty are going to hire about a week or 2 after the application is due. So I realize I went ahead and told you a lot of information really quickly, but do we have any questions about the application process, about the
You have
of
do
course.
comment in the chat. It sounds like the process is a little intimidating. Can you either break it down or maybe talk about the decision part of it? It was just a comment that it sounds scary. So I don't know if you want to
Oh, okay.
share
So
any of the back part.
absolutely. So in reality, this is a very laid back process. So while there is some types of documentation that we need, such as a resume or cover letter, really what we're looking for is students who are really interested in working hard, as well as interested in the topic. Um, so putting together a resume can seem and a cover letter can seem intimidating at first. Um, but I do promise, first of all, it's not as bad as it seems. Um, and that myself, as well as career development, really can walk you through this process. And we can go ahead and work with you every step of the way to go ahead and put together something that you're proud of. The really nice thing about having to apply this way is at some point you'll have to apply for a job or graduate school. Um, and you'll have this resume and cover letter then as a starting point for when you go ahead and take that next step. The whole point here is not to make this seem intimidating. I realize it can be a little bit, but it's to help build some skills in you so that when you do have to take your next step after North Central College, you are ready for it. Does that help a little bit? And realize that if you have any questions or want me to look at something, please feel free to email me at ncboas@nocontrol.edu or stop by my office at Science Center 312. Here, I'll stop my screen share now, so that way I can see y'all. Okay, what other questions do we have, guys? Okay, well, I have a question for you. Is anybody here thinking of applying? Feel free to just go ahead and raise your hand. So the document to apply, Zach, it was sent out in an email on Monday from Academic Affairs, and it'll have both of the links that you need to apply. Additionally, I can go ahead and send this link in the chat here right now. There you go. Okay, what other questions do we have? Okay, I have a question. I'll ask Heidi a question here. So let's say I'm a student trying to apply for undergraduate research, and I've never written a resume before. What's the best way to start?
Yeah, we actually have a couple of great ways for students to start on a resume. And number one, if you've never created a resume before, or you feel like your resume needs an overhaul, we actually do have a resume template on Handshake that you can download and use. So it really is, it's already formatted. It has all of your headings, standard headings in there. You might want to include some customized one. If you already have research in there or other presentations, you can definitely customize that. But that template is intended for you to be able to just download it and put your information in there. So it really takes the guesswork out of the formatting, the font, the margins, the headings, and things like that. So to start, I would go to noctrl.joinhandshake.com. And navigate to the resources that are under the career services button. And you're going to find resume essentials in there. That's where you're going to find that template. We also have a resume essentials guide. So if you want to be able to review your own resume and make sure that it has all the elements that you need in there, it just kind of guides you through how to do your own resume review. So you're welcome to do that to get started. But you can also request a resume review with our career peer advisors. Same place in Handshake, you would go into appointments and look for a drop-in availability with one of our career peer advisors to have your resume reviewed. If you're looking for some more in-depth support to help you develop your resume for the first time, or maybe you're struggling with how to write bullet points based on your prior experience, you can request a 30-minute appointment with one of our staff professionals to help you walk through that as well.
That's fantastic. So one question, where do I find Handshake at?
So I can drop the link in the chat, but you would go to noctrl.joinhandshake.com. And actually, every student has a Handshake account. You would go to that link and you would use your North Central College email and password to access your account.
Fantastic. So anybody have any specific questions for either for career services or undergraduate research that you'd like to talk about? Okay, I guess I have another question then. So this idea of a cover letter, um, I should just summarize what's in my resume, right? That's what a cover letter is for, right? Just to let people know what my resume is in paragraph form.
Sorry, I was dropping in. Oh, look at this, Margaret. Margaret, do you want to jump in?
Sure. Uh, what Nick said, no,
Ah, I completely forgot that. I knew I was going to mess it up.
no, you don't want to use your cover letter to talk about like just list things that are on your resume because they have your resume right in front of them. They don't want to
Mhm.
reread it in another format. You have this brand new opportunity to talk about or go way more in depth about a skill or qualification or experience that you had. Brag about yourself.
Mhm. That's hard
So
sometimes.
I was going to chime in and just say that there is in that same section in Handshake in that resources section, there is a sample cover letter in there. So if you're trying to figure out how it's formatted and what do you put in each paragraph of that cover letter, you will see a sample in there on what to write.
Fantastic. At this point, I'm thinking that Margaret and Heidi are wondering, how did he get that job? But I will say that when I've personally looked for students for undergraduate research opportunities, one of the things that I'm really looking for in an applicant is enthusiasm. And the cover letter is a great way to show that I think this is cool. I can't wait to get started. This sounds like fun. And it may seem trite, but when you're looking to work with someone, having somebody who has passion and enthusiasm is something that really you can't teach that. And so that would be one thing I would really recommend that you try and focus on your cover letter here, because at this point, you might not have a huge amount to fill in your resume, and that's okay. We understand that you're just starting out. But what you can have a huge amount of is enthusiasm and excitement for doing cool stuff, and that's something you can never really have enough of. So just sort of a fun aside of how I sort of look at that. Okay, so Zach, since I am going to be traveling this summer, are any type of research opportunities fully online? Um, there could be. And so I think some of the research opportunities here, specifically some of the social science research opportunities, as well as some of the computer science opportunities, can be done online. Um, but I would recommend talking to the individual professor. And so this brings up a really good point. If you're thinking of applying for a research position, one of the best things you can do to help yourself get that research position is reach out and have a chat with the professor about their research. I realize that's probably the most terrifying thing you can think of, um, but you shouldn't necessarily be intimidated by that because there is nothing in the world that professors love to talk about more than research. The real trouble is we often have trouble finding people who will listen to us. And so if someone is willing to listen to cool stuff about research, I guarantee that we will find the time to go ahead and do that. And if you need help with an introduction, let me know and I can certainly go ahead and facilitate that. What I will say is that the professors who have all applied here, they are super duper excited to work with students. And I guarantee they will want to go ahead and have a chat with you before you apply.
It looks like there was another question in the chat. I think
Okay.
Thomas asked how much time is usually spent on doing research each week?
That's a really great question, Thomas. So overall, our guidelines are somewhere between 20 and 25 hours a week for your stipend. That being said, it can be a little bit different. So for example, 2 summers ago, I did a research project in collaboration with a physicist uh, where the majority of our research time happened in 3 successive days. So we got instrument time at a national laboratory to play with their particle accelerator. Super fun, by the way. Um, and because they give us in 24-hour blocks, we had 72 hours to get everything done. So what wound up happening is my students didn't really work a whole lot for like the 2 weeks leading up to that, simply because they were going to be working a ton during that 72-hour process. Alternatively, there are other people who have more regular hours, like 20 to 25 hours a week. And there are some professors who say, hey, the best way to do that is let's work 3 days a week. Or alternatively, let's just work mornings. Generally speaking, this varies by a professor, and many of the faculty are actually pretty flexible with this. Does that help answer your question, Thomas? Okay. So I think we're running out of time here. Thank you very much for coming. If you have questions about applying, please let me know, and I really want to go ahead and help you. One last show of hands though. Who here is thinking that this might be something that's kind of cool that they want to try out? If so, just raise your hand. Okay, fantastic. I like to see that. I encourage you guys, go ahead and apply. I am here to help you. So if you get stuck at any point, stop by and I'll help you and we'll make it happen. Thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate your time and I hope that y'all have a wonderful day.